righty, traders. This is Blake Morrow. You were listening to the Morning Edge webinar. I hope everybody's having a great trading session, and it's time to get busy. We're going to get busy on this analysis stuff. Got some work to do. We only have import prices today, so things are going to be, we don't have a whole lot of data basically coming out today. So, we'll have to keep an eye on what, I think the big thing that the people are going to be watching today are equity markets. Like I said, yesterday's performance in equities late in the day was pretty nasty. Big turnaround, and so I think we need to keep a really close eye on what equities do here. With that being said, let's go ahead and get over to the euro. We're going to start with the euro dollar. Okay, so the euro, I mean, how crappy is that? Here we are with all these, all these dojis. I mean, one after the other. One thing that, you probably remember me saying yesterday is the fact is that we are holding on to our gains in the euro. You can't dismiss that. You can't ignore the fact that the euro is holding on to its recent gains, post FOMC, post ECB meeting, ECB, FOMC, we're holding on to our gains. And I can't ignore the fact that we're just sitting up here, which keeps it bullish by default, okay? Now, the problem is that it can't expand on these gains. And every time we try, we hit brief new highs and then fail. Brief new highs, fail. Brief new highs, fail. Does that mean that the euro is set up as a perfect short right now? No, not necessarily, but now it's got things working against it. You got the euro pound that's coming down pretty aggressively, which I love, by the way. You guys know it's like, I'm a big fan of the euro pound being on the short side right now. But, also at the same time, the euro is still holding up relatively well. Now, what we can do at this stage in the game is we have this little minor trend line that comes through intraday, right? You guys notice that? All right, that's a minor trend line, which means that, now that we broke that high overnight, stopped out people, gold was rallying, silver was rallying, euro spiked, okay? Thing is, if we take out, I would say this low right here at 1370, that puts those lows back in play. So 1370 right here, that's going to be support for this morning. Okay. So if we take that out, then 1325 comes right back into play. So let's write that down. 113.25, 113. What's the other number? 75, right? Correct? Yeah. 113.70. Okay. So resistance, resistance, whether you like it or not, is still 114.50. I know we went higher than that today to 65, but it's still really 114.50. All right, and it's still a range. I know we're trying to expand on those gains, but in all actuality, still trading extremely heavy. All right, let's take a look at the cable. So the cable, this one was an interesting move. So we had a spike high right above resistance. Now I don't think fading the cable is the right move at the moment, personally, because I think the pound looks pretty good again, especially when you're looking against some of these crosses. But we did manage to, we're above the 618, which we stopped at yesterday. Okay, we actually hit that. I think we wrote that down yesterday here. We were here. We wrote down 142.85. We hit 142.86 yesterday morning and reversed. Today, we hit higher highs. Relative strength is divergent. Higher highs, relative strength did not hit higher highs. Okay, it's gonna make you stop and think. How high can we go here? I mean, almost pushing the 786 would be a stretch, but possible. Because if you look through here, it's doable. So I'm going to write it down. I don't know if we're going to get to it today, but at the same time, I don't know if I would fade the cable. 143.60. 143.60 is resistance, and we are in a range. I know it may not feel that way right at the moment, but we are. We're still the right shoulder here of the inverted head and shoulder pattern. It's been developing for a while, and we're getting long in the tooth now. We're losing the symmetry, if you will. But yeah, some resistance up there. So support right now is very easy. This is where traders that are long the cable, this is where they give up. It's right through here. The overnight lows, which basically is 142.25. 142.25. Okay, if that support gives way, then anybody who's long the cable will probably pull the plug on it. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the Swissy. So the Swissy made another dip right to 95 cents. Okay, I think we dropped slightly below. I think we traded it to 94. Yeah, 94.98. Just enough. Trip some stops there. What is this? Oh, that's our longer term trend line, isn't it? Yeah, that's that longer term trend line. We're still skating across it, but the downside pressure hasn't been taken off the Swissy yet. It really hasn't. Okay. Let me remove that. Remove that. Let's make this a different color. Okay. So the Swissy, once again, we're going to have to do, let's remove that one. Okay. We will have to take out these highs, which comes in at 95.82. 95.80. Okay. So above 95.80, that's where the downside pressure of the Swissy gets taken off. So I'm going to write down 95 cents. Then key resistance is 95.80. Longer term range, but like I said, we've got downside pressure right now. It's just we have to lift above that resistance to really take off that pressure. Okay. Okay. Let's take a look at the yen. The yen, I'm not excited about. However, see this. We had a wedge developing because we rejected it yesterday. We rejected the upper end of that wedge. We came down, but we're holding the support pretty good. Okay, my opinion is we are in a we're in a sideways range here. It's gonna look like this. Let's go to the hourly. And this may look like that. See how I'm tagging those resistance points there. We briefly broke above it, but I think 109 is going to be good resistance for the dollar yen on any rally. 109.10. Okay. And there was another significant reason why 109.10 was big, but I have to figure that out. There's a reason. I don't know. But anyway, 109.10. And support is at 107.60. So I think you have to just leave this one alone for right now. 1.0760, unless equities come under a lot of pressure, then that dollar yen's probably going to head back down there towards support. 109.10. Put the decimal in the wrong spot. Okay. That is in a bearish trend. Okay. Hold on one second. Okay. Let's take a look at the Canadian. So the dollar Canadian came down to we haven't stopped here. Thought we had some harmonic patterns developing yesterday. It just basically stalled price, never gave us a bounce. I'm going to delete all that stuff. Let's go over to the daily. That support right there is 128, I think 128.20. Let me double check that. It is 128.20. Okay. Low to high. 618 there. I think that makes me so nervous about this Canadians. We're in between fibs. Okay. $28.30. Yeah, I mean, this is huge support through here. And you can see why we've got a lot of support down here. And so what's going to be really interesting is even if we hit new lows, you just have to realize that there's so much support down here. You have to go all the way back to mid 2015. And resistance, support, and we're coming through support here. So even if we hit new lows, which I'm gonna write down 128.30 as being key support. So even 28.30, even if we hit new lows, you have to realize there's a lot of support below the market where we're currently at. Okay. resistance to take this downside pressure off. Interesting. All right, hold on 1 second. Don't go anywhere. That means if we get above 129.20, this thing's gonna rip. Just FYI. So if we get above here, that's where you're gonna see a squeeze. If we can get above there, okay, 129.20. We are in a bearish trend, though. Everybody should know that. Okay, where else am I at? Let's go to Kiwi. So I still have a short Kiwi. I only have a half-size position right now. I actually want to add to it, but I haven't added to it yet. I want to. I sold it yesterday as we were closing in on the 618. I think let me take a look at my cost average. My cost average is 68. 63. So when we spiked above here, I sold a little bit, and I wouldn't mind adding to it. I want to see the dollar start to turn, though. That's the thing. It's like I'm a little nervous with gold strong, silver strong, the commodity complex basically holding up well. You know, it's got me a little nervous. You know, about extending myself here. But at the same time, you can see, you know, even hourly, you know, RSI is starting to diverge. It's you know, the Kiwi may be holding up right now, but it's marginally holding up. The 78% retracement is at 69.20. It's doable. Such a big resistance up here. I'm going to write down 69.20. I don't even think we're going to get there today, but that's my opinion. All right. Support. Where is support? I'm going to write down 68.50. This is probably where, you know, some traders get a little nervous about being on the long side. $68.50. Okay. All right, let me see if I can do the Aussie really quick. All right, here's the Aussie. We hit the 127% extension and the 786 retracement today, and that resistance comes in at 76.75. All right. Now, if you guys are coming in a little bit late, there's the 127% extension. You take the high to low, 127% extension, and then the 786 of the trend highs to the trend low. This is on the 4-hour. Comes in right at the same spot. So I'll write down 76, 75, and then I'm going to write down the highs here, which would be 77.20. 76, 75, 77.20. We've been in a bullish trend and can continue to be in a bullish trend. You can see continue to be in a bullish trend. We are still making higher highs. Okay, higher highs, higher lows. Now I don't know if we're going to make a higher high from here, and that can start the process of the Aussie dollar going from a bullish trend back into a range, especially if we let's remove that really quick. Especially if we stall somewhere around here and develop like a head and shoulder pattern, and this could be the right shoulder. Okay. So there's that 127% extension. Here's the 786. Okay. Support right now is at 76.30, but yeah, I'm going to write down 76.30. I know it's tight, but below there is 75.80. All right. When I come back, we'll do the dollar index, peso, everything else. I'll be back in a few moments. Don't go anywhere. All right, traders, this is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Morning Edge webinar. I want to welcome you all back. All right, we're going to go into the dollar index. We are seeing the euro's holding above 114. The cable's trying to pull back a little bit. Euro pound's trying to bounce a little bit. Kiwi and Aussie are just kind of sitting there, holding on to the gains. Dollar Canadian is being supported off the lows. Dollar yen isn't doing much of anything. Futures still up 30 points right now. I think the market's a little stunned off of how the equity markets moved yesterday. That was a pretty big slide into the close yesterday. Keep that in mind. Going from up 150 points to basically negative at the end of the day. So I think the market's going to be watching very carefully how it responds at the open. Let's take a look at the dollar index. Okay, so the dollar index is, as you guys know, we're in this descending wedge. It's not drawn perfectly by any stretch of the means. Okay. You can see, this dollar index. Oh, you know what I should do? Let me delete that really quick. I need to go into a 4-hour chart. Try something. I'm going to take this low to the high. 161% extension comes in at 93.44. I mean, there's so much support down here, as you guys know, in the dollar. So much support down here. We are at horizontal support. You can see it right through here. That comes in at 93.85. We're above it right now. So the low today is 93.62. There's more support down here at 93.47, which is 161% extension. I think what I have to write down today, though, is I have to write down, I think I have to write down today's lows. You know what? I'm going to write down 93. The dollar's been sliding, and I can't ignore the fact that the dollar's just been under a lot of pressure. So I have to give the market the benefit of the doubt that we're going to continue to slide lower, because that's the path of least resistance right now, right? Okay. So 93, I'm going to write down 93.50. And although we're in a range, we're at the lower end of our range as far as the dollar goes, okay? 93.50. Resistance, you know, to take the downside pressure off the dollar, we're going to have to take out 94 cents. It'll be right through here. So what's that spike high on a 4-hour? I can't read it. There we go. Spike high will be 94.08, 94.10. So to take the pressure off 94.10, and then beyond that, let's just assume we do, then it'll be 94.30. Okay. All right. Cable's slipping towards 143. Let's go over to the peso. So the peso broke back below 60. We had a 4-hour hammer yesterday. Didn't give us much as a result of that. We had a hammer here on support, but because risk appetite was, this towards the end of the day, it didn't give us much of a lift. So we're coming back under pressure, but let's figure out how low we can go here. Spike low to high. 50% retracement comes in at 52. Should offer some support there. 1752. We're closing in on it. Might get down to 1749. Resistance comes in at 18. So the peso, you just have to watch like through here, because I think we bounce from there somewhere down here. 18 is going to be resistance. Now to get up to 18, we'd have to see some risk aversion in the market, which I can't rule out because of what had happened yesterday. I think the market's going to be a little skittish because of that. We are still in a range. Let's go over to the Norwegian krona. Okay, I need to redraw a few things here in the Norwegian krona. Let me delete everything. Okay, and let's go here. We have this There's your longer term head and shoulder pattern, right? All right. Now, one thing I wanted to draw really quick is this. Okay, you guys see that? Now, stand by. Okay, past the 161% extension there. It's an 88% retracement. Look at this hammer that we're creating here with the Norwegian krona. Tempted to buy that too. I've already got so many dollars right now, and although none of my positions, aside from the euro, the euro short that I have right now is not quite full size, but it's bigger than the half size positions I have in the Aussie, the Kiwi, the Canadian. I've just bought the Swedish krona. I've got a little bit of peso. You know, everything else is like half size. The euro is a little bit more aggressive. It's like I don't know if I want to spread myself too thin and buy some Norwegian krona here, but this is probably not a bad place to be on the long side of the US dollar Norwegian krona. Okay, and I'm going to write down support as being today's low at 812. Resistance going to be at 839. Supports 812. 8.39 is resistance. If you look at the longer term trend of the US dollar Norwegian krona, I mean, it may be coming down right now, but I don't think I'd get too bearish there. Look at the euro. Roll over euro. Go. Wow, the cable's getting crushed. What the hell? What? What? Oh, thanks, Jared. I didn't know Jared was listening today. So late in Australia. Okay, sorry. Going back to this Norwegian krona here. This. I mean, I think we're more in a range right now. But let's go over to the Swedish krona. So, as you guys know, I just bought this. I bought it at 8.0768. So I bought it just a little while ago. We are at channel support. This is like huge, huge support for the US dollar Swedish krona. So I'm going to write down 8.0, whatever the low is today, 8.03. We're at the lower end of our range. Wish I was awake to see that one. I was sleeping. 0300. Major support there. Resistance. See, that's the descending wedge, my friends. Right there. Man, this could be a gnarly, gnarly turnaround. This is so awesome. I haven't been blogging recently. This is so awesome that I might actually blog this. You know, it's good if I am thinking about blogging it. 818. 8.18. Key. We're at the lower end of the longer term range. Your bias chart is done. Wow, look at the pound just getting bitch slapped. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. It getting slapped. Holy cow.